Hi and welcome back to another guitar lesson on easy guitar chords, and I hope you've had a good time with the C major chord and you've got nice clear sounds from it. So today we're going to look at the G major chord. Now this G major chord looks like this and sounds like this, and we can actually find a lot of similarities between the G and the C and a lot of ways to connect with G and C, and that's what we're going to try and do today. So firstly, let's learn the G major chord, or G. So the notes of the G are the 3rd fret on the E string, so you can use either finger 2, middle finger, or the 3rd finger, the 2nd fret of the A string, which again you can use with the 1st finger or with the 2nd finger, and then the 3rd fret of the high E string, so with either the 3rd finger, 4th finger. That's probably the two best combinations there. So let's see what that looks like together. So firstly, let's try putting all 3 notes, the 3rd fret of the E string with finger 2 for the moment, the 2nd fret on the A string with finger 1, and the 3rd finger on the high E string, fret 3. And it should sound like that. Again, making sure your thumb is around about the middle of the 2nd fret, and making sure your fingers are on their tips next to the fret line and pushing nice and hard, and you'll get a nice clear sound. Okay, and you should start to notice, we talked about the inner or mini shapes that was found in C. When we looked in C, there was a diagonal here and a diagonal here, and so on. Well, in the G chord, if you notice the mini shapes here, these two are actually diagonal. So let's see if we can try and get those 2 diagonal points on together, the 1st and the 2nd together on. Well, if we can do that diagonally, then maybe we can do it with other fingers diagonally. Maybe we can do it with fingers 2 and 3. So on the A string, fret 2 with finger 2, and the E string, fret 3 with finger 3, which means that if we fret the full G chord, we're going to use the little finger. And again, we want clear sounds by keeping the thumb in position, and we also want to make sure that the fingers are next to the frets and on their tips. Okay. Now, if you're getting a nice clear sound, or if you're getting buzzes or anything like that, just make sure that you've done your little checklist of things, fingers close to the fret line, on the tips, pushing nice and hard, and that your thumb's in position. Now, why would I fret this particular way of doing G instead of this G? Well, this is all about pivoting and using shapes or notes to pivot between different chords. So if I want to move between G and C, I can do it very simply by keeping this diagonal position here and moving it 1 set of strings higher, and then adding in my 1st finger to give me C. So there's a nice transition between G and C with this diagonal position here, and we're just adding on this little finger. Now I say I'm just adding on, it takes a lot of practice to get that feeling to add that finger on, but it's a diagonal here and a diagonal here. So for G there's a diagonal, and for C there's a diagonal. So it's worth investigating ways of moving between these chords. Don't just have one way of playing a chord, so just playing it with fingers 1, 2 and 3. Try it as many ways as possible. You can do it 1, 2 and 4, 2, 3 and 4, and so on. Okay, so let's just try strumming 4 times on G and 4 times on C. Okay, I'm going to count you in, and we'll do it with fingers 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go after 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that again. Now, another thing you'll notice is where I'm strumming for the G chord, and I'm not strumming from the A string like I did on the C chord. I'm now strumming from the low E string, and that's why I get, because if I don't strum from that string, I actually don't need this finger on there. So strumming from the E string, I'm going to try that again, 4 strums, okay, on each chord. 3, 4. Okay, so we have G and we have C. Now there is actually another way of playing G, and it's a legitimate way, and it's no better or worse than playing the Gs that I've done so far. And that's actually by doing fingers 1 and 2 again, or yeah, you need, in this instance you need 1 and 2. And this time what I'm going to do is the third finger is going to move to the 3rd fret of the B string. So it's this 3rd fret here, and then the little finger is going to go to the 3rd fret of the high E string. So now I get this note, so the 3rd fret, 2nd fret, the 3rd fret on the B string, and the 3rd fret on the E string. It's a slightly more neutral sounding G, but if you do this type of G, it's a little bit more tricky to get into the C chord, but it's a good test for you to see if you've learned your C chord so it's automatic. So let's try doing this G chord, again nice clear sounds, and you'll notice the little mini shape here, the 2 fingers over the top of each other. That's another mini shape that you'll find in lots of chords in the future. So let's strum this 4 times and then the C major 4 times. Are you ready? Here we go. 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. 3, 4. Okay, so today we've learnt G in various ways of playing it, which is G with fingers 1, 2 and 3, the same G with fingers 2, 3 and 4, and then a slightly different way of playing G with fingers 1, 2, 3 and 4, like so, and they're all the same name, they're all G major chord. Okay, so I hope you've had a lot of fun with that, and just keep practicing playing around with G and C until you feel those connections are simply moving between each other and you can do them without thought. Okay, and I will see you in the next lesson for easy guitar chords.